Hi, hello. Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with you. It is Friday. Open Forum Friday, Brandon's favorite day. Plus, it's payday, folks. So he's really excited over there. I thought he was excited to see me, and I just realized.
Are you just letting my anticipation build for the check? Is that why I haven't gotten it yet?
Right, and I got to leave at 11 o'clock because I got to be in Baton Rouge for 2 or 3 sales appointments.
Well, shoot, I'm going to get you on the commercial break then.
Brandon just put a big note. Pay me, fool. You know, I hate to forget payday, man. I really do. That's, to me, a horrible thing. I worked for a guy one time in New Orleans, and he'd be paid on Fridays. And he's a great guy. But what he would do, he would deliberately make you come ask for your check so you can go home at 7 o'clock at night. Oh, no, it was unbelievable, and I just kind of laughed. And so what I'd do is I'd find me something to do and do some paperwork or something. Every night I said, man, I need to pay you so you can go. You know, looking at 6:58 on a Friday, I said, yeah, you know what, it's payday, ain't it? And I'm sitting there going, really? So it is a pet peeve of mine, and it is when you owe somebody and you got to pay them, you pay them on the day. Anyway, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Folks, the Democrat Party just gone batty. Is the Democrat Party actually embarrassing themselves? They got people in the Democrat Party starting to ask that question. I mean, if you read the Bob Mann piece, Bob Mann is such a little weenie. He made his living and made his money off of John Brown. He gets to write a piece, and he just says nasty stuff about Trump. He's such a weenie baby, a Democrat weenie baby who made everything he made off of the great John Brown's making millions as a lobbyist. And by the way, Senator Vitter falling in that everybody else did. Now, he's going to be a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. You know, it's amazing. You can't hardly name one person that ever went to Washington, D.C. that didn't end up a lobbyist making lots of money. The only one I know of that didn't, and I'm not a big fan of him. He don't like me, and I don't like him either, is Congressman John Cooksey. I think Cooksey, who had a really good professional practice, I think Cooksey was one of the ones that actually came back after his stint. I mean, Rodney Alexander tried to come back. He's a lobbyist now. Senator Vitter, soon to be a lobbyist. Mary Landrieu is a lobbyist. The great John Breaux is a lobbyist extraordinaire. They know to stay in Washington, D.C. I just find it ironic. I'm not cutting Senator Vitter because I've always liked him and always thought he was a real man's man when it came to being a real conservative. I'm just pointing out the fact, it's all over the papers anyway, that he's a lobbyist too. So one thing about it, folks, that Washington economy is a lot better than the Louisiana economy because you don't see many of them come back to live in the economy of Louisiana. And they can make a lot more money. See, in Washington, D.C., there is no recession. There's no recession, no such thing. There's no depression. There's always big-time jobs and big-time money in Washington, D.C. So I guess when they go there, they look at this and go, well, listen, let me weigh this. I can come back home to Louisiana where I might make a living, or I can stay up here and make a hell of a living, become very filthy rich. And that's what most of them do. Right or wrong, they do it. I just, Senator Vitter's, Jim McCrary, I mean, all of them. They just lobby up Bob Livingston, Billy Tozan, who's teamed up with Bro and them to really set their kids in great shape. Because there's never recession. You know, when we went through a tough time back in 2008 and 9, whatever it was, that part of the country never heard why they've got a printing press. So this is one of the reasons Trump, as president of the United States, drained the swamp, all this stuff that's going on. People would like to see some of this stuff stop. But it never does because it's too much money. And you follow the money, and you can follow why things happen the way they happen. Until Trump came along, and people said enough's enough. It's interesting to see what happens. 844-766-6607. We'll weigh all that as the program unfolds. One of the things that I wanted to bring up is Mitch Landrieu. Now, listen, I got a text the other day, email, maybe it's Facebook, I don't know, all the different social medias, Brandon, I don't know where I get stuff from sometimes. Kind of dogging me a little bit, saying I'm always on being negative about New Orleans, and I'm not. New Orleans is not one of my favorite places. I go when I have to go. But that's just my choice. New Orleans has the fun. A lot of people love it, and they go and they do, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the guy just kind of dogged me. I just kind of laughed at him. I didn't even answer the thing. It doesn't make any sense. I love all the state. We got good people in New Orleans, like we got good people in Monroe and Lafayette and Lake Charles and everywhere else. But it doesn't stop me from pointing out the truth that there's a crime problem down there. Fox 8, out of New Orleans, by the way. I'm getting this out of, Brandon, this is WVUE, out of New Orleans reporting this. This is not my report. Just to let the guy know if he's still listening. In New Orleans, dozens shot in the first month of 2017, ahead of the pace of 2016. Let me read the first headline. In the first month of the new year, 74 people, Brandon, were killed or wounded by gunfire. That's an average of 2 victims every day. Of course, the police chief said these were between people that knew each other. Yeah, dope related, most of it. So we have a problem there. And Mitch Landrieu, the outgoing mayor of New Orleans, has never fixed one bit of it. So I kind of was wondering, why is Mitch Landrieu throwing bombs, Mayor Landrieu throwing bombs at Jeff Landry and throwing bombs at Donald Trump and throwing bombs at anybody that gets in the way? Been down there all his life. His family's been down there all their lives. They've run that city. They own the voters down there for so long. Owned them. And I mean own them like a plantation. Black and white. But Mitch Landrieu's angry, folks. And Bob Mann, who's down there, he's angry. And I figured out why Mitch Landrieu's angry. What does he run for now, Brandon? Term limited as mayor. Richmond has the congressional seat that he'd have to run in. Richmond's black. He can't beat Richmond. He can never win statewide. He can't be the governor. He couldn't win lieutenant governor. He couldn't win dog catcher around the state. Mitch has nothing he can do now. He can go be a lobbyist with Mary, but he can't run for anything. He's getting ready to lose every bit of the power that the Landrieux have developed for 50 years. That dude is frustrated at everybody and mad at everybody because he has nowhere to run anywhere. What is he going to run for?
And, there were articles written about, had the election gone the other way of Hillary Clinton, that he would have had a potential spot waiting in the Clinton administration.
There's no doubt he would have had it. He's going to end up being a lobbyist with Mary.
To go from that to what you just said.
The word is him and Mary don't get along at all. They don't like each other. I'm not going to say they hate each other strongly, but they don't like each other. And he has, folks, Mitch Landrieu, the city is going down under his watch. The crime has gone up. The murders have gone up. Look, this is facts coming out of news reports in New Orleans. I'm not spreading stuff out there so somebody doesn't go to New Orleans. New Orleans is a lot of fun, too. They got a lot of great things to go do in New Orleans. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not down in New Orleans at all, but I'm down in Landrieu, who really is a frustrated, warped politician who has nowhere to go. I mean, they've run the city into the ground. He's not fixed one thing there. His sister can't just go get money for him anymore from the federal government. That got to be frustrating. And he has nothing to run for. He can never win governor. He couldn't win lieutenant governor again. Times have changed. He couldn't win secretary of state. He might can win the toilet bowl because I might promote him, but he can't win. So he has nowhere to have power over people. They're not going to run to him with the microphones anymore. So Mayor Mitch Landrieu in New Orleans is whooped, and he has nowhere to turn to. Sister's not a United States senator. Remember, she was drubbed 56-44 in the Senate race. Brandon made a good point. Obama's gone. Can't go in that administration. Thank the Lord Jesus. Hillary's not going to ever be the president of the United States. Thank the Lord Jesus. All he does is run Trump down, and he gets infused with Jeff Landry because he figures, what the heck, I may as well take him down because maybe he wants to be governor. I don't know. Jeff's never told me he wanted to be governor. Ever. That don't mean he don't want to be governor because he didn't tell me. I mean, who am I? I mean, politicians don't tell me anything. But Mitch Landrieu is just, he's out of places to go. So now what he does, he called Jeff Landry an ignorant person. He has ripped Donald Trump a new one every day, along with the help of Bob, that little wimp man. And so what does he go? What does he run for? What does he go now? So what he's doing, he's finding people like Jeff Landry and Trump, people with a heart, people with guts to do things, and go after them. Mitch can't defend what he's done at the city. He can't defend that he protected the city. He signs in a new law or some kind of I don't know, some kind of special rights deal for LBGTs. He signs in a new deal for refugees. He signs in a new, we're going to be a sanctuary city, and we don't care what they say, showing his ignorance even more. And he has nowhere to go. There's nothing he can run for. Nothing he can win. Nothing that will give him power. The Landrew's out. And boy, that's what's fuming at his you-know-what. He's got the red boop, and he's got it because he has nowhere to go. So let me try to bring down Jeff Landry. Let me try to bring down Donald Trump. Let me be ugly and nasty because he can't defend what's going on in that city for the terms that he has been the mayor, which I want to say he's been there 8 or 12 years. I can't remember the years. But he's been there, and he's run the city into the ground. He knows that he didn't protect his people. He didn't protect all the tourists. He didn't do anything, and now he has nowhere to go. So what he's going to do? Blame everybody else. Let's take a break. Mitch Landrieu. Nothing to do and all day to do it in. Mitch Landrieu, that'd be his new motto. We got to take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline open for him Friday. You can talk about what you want to talk about. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. I want to just shout out to my partner in crime tomorrow. I am headed to Monroe Fish Tournament, just letting you know, Brandon. I'm shouting out to my partner in crime. He's headed to the lake. He's supposed to put us on the fish. If, let me just say this, if I don't win, I'll cut a check. The guy that I'm fishing with's name will be on the air Monday. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying anything else about my lawyer. Oh, he's a lawyer. I'm sorry. I should have said that. So Jeff, I better not say his last name. Dement. I was supposed to say all that on there, but just letting you know he will be toast come Monday.
Now Walker's going on a trip too, right?
Yeah, he's not going to fish. He's going to see his buddies.
I was about to ask. He's not going to do any.
Who, him?
Yeah.
No, he's going to see his buddies.
Oh, okay.
So he got a bunch of them. He won't see them all, but he'll see every one of them he can. I promise you. I'll have to hunt up what house he's at next. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. Is the left nutting up because of Trump? The Democrat Party has been it's outraged, folks. They have lost their minds. You realize there's over 12,000 tweets on calling for Trump's assassination? 12,000 tweets. That's 12,000 fools right there. Now, Secret Service, according to what I'm reading, they have to handle that. But they have to find out what's serious and what's not. There's no way for them to handle 12,000. No way. Absolutely no way. But you think about what the left is doing, folks, and the craziness that's being put out there. And like Chuck Schumer, who voted for the Supreme Court Justice nominee, and all these people voted for him, are now not going to vote for him. No reason except Trump. Trump's the one that put him up. And look at the things they're saying, folks. Look at what they're doing. Look at Berkeley, California. We got a conservative person coming through to speak, and they burned the dang thing down. They didn't burn it all down, but you know what I mean. And you think about what they're doing. And you watch what they're saying. I've never seen craziness like this. And this, my friends, is crazy. When Obama won, I went to work the next day. Tuesday election, I went to work on Wednesday. I never said, well, we're going to have to do to beat this guy. We never did that. But yet they won't quit. They just never stop. Now, the question's starting to be asked. And this is what I talked about yesterday. That guy in the middle of the road that might vote Democrat a lot, but he votes occasionally Republican. He's not into the crazy. I got to believe that's millions of people that vote that are really backing up going, man, is this crazy or what? Hysteria worse than what he's doing. He's done nothing. I mean, he's doing some things, but he's not really done anything to make anybody go bonkers, and they're going anyway. And, it's like the Democrats. You ever heard the old story about the guy that hollers wolf? Okay, Brandon, everybody knows the story. I'm not going to explain it to you. Even people in Balkanville know this. Even Jody Dykes knows this. If they holler wolf on everything he does is going to ruin the whole country. He hadn't even done enough. He's only been president for 12 days. The hysteria. The craziness is worse than what's really happened. It reminds me of, remember Nixon, the lies were worse than the tapes. The lies got him in trouble. You remember, we heard all this already. That's why I'm asking these people in the middle of the road to look, what did they say about George Bush? He's a racist. George Bush was going to take away senior citizens' medications. He was going to hurt poor people. He was going to hurt school system. None of that happened. But boy, they said it every day. They said it under Reagan. They said it under the first Bush. They saying it now under Donald Trump. All that stuff is nuts. You know, they're going to run Social Security. Social Security's been run because we put too many people in it. People are getting off Social Security that are healthy and understand the system. You know, it's crazy what they're trying to do. So if you got any common sense, forget Republican, Democrat, and maybe you vote Democrat a lot, you're not seeing, there's nobody in my audience that's actually stepped back going, wow, look, how nuts can you be? How nuts can you be? And you can't see what they're doing and all this stuff they blow up over and over and over again. The things they say, the things they do. I mean, Berkeley's burning their own buildings down. I mean, what a brainwash for people not to be able to see what I can see. I've never been accused of two things. I've never been accused of being good looking, and I've never been accused of being bright, and I can see it. Wow. By the way, liberals are all upset too, Brandon. They worried about the health of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You know, she's not in good health. And so the liberals are going crazy. They want to know can she eat more kale?
That stuff is nasty.
Can she eat more kale and drink no Diet Cokes? And oh my!
Every now and
God.
then, my wife tries to slip some kale into some shakes and stuff that she makes. I'm like, baby, I love you, but leave the kale out of it.
I know.
I don't want no kale.
My motto is hell with kale. All right, let's take a break. Kale. Oh my God. Oh yeah, that's gonna make her better. We're gonna take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Of course, the Hickson has it hotline. By the way, we were joking, eat more kale. Liberals wanted to eat more kale, reassure them that Ginsburg health is good. You know, Brandon made a good point when I left the air. They don't care about her health. They just want to make sure they have some nutted up liberal on the Supreme Court. If she died today and they could put Obama on that, they'd be just as happy.
Okay, Moon said it in much more colorful language than the way I put it off the air.
Well, by the way, Brandon was nice about it. I don't have to be. Brandon said, do they really care about her? And then I'm the one threw in well, no. If they could change Ginsburg out for another liberal that was 42 years old, they would do it. They really would. It wouldn't even be a problem. And they don't really care about her. Just give me the next one. It's a shame, but they really don't care. They don't care about the country. They don't care about the who's on the Supreme Court. They don't care about the woman's health. They really don't. That's all fake. They don't care if she died if they would put another candidate. Look, I'm watching the crazies. These people are crazy. Look at what they're doing. That's why I'm asking people that consider themselves pretty even keel, maybe vote Democrat a lot. I wish they would wake up and look at what's going on. You know, they allowed to, Brandon, 40% say election hurt a close relationship. I guess some was for Trump, some was for Hillary, and the relationship is shot down now.
Oh.
I mean, really? Boy, I tell you what, let me just say this and I'll move on. If your relationship is shot down because of the last election cycle, my gut feeling is, just my gut feeling, you didn't have a relationship at all. Number two is, go to a psychologist. Never mind, I never met one of them that didn't need help. Let's go to Shoepick in Farmerville. How you doing, Shoepick?
Oh, man, but you talking about brainwashing of the people. It's just 8 years of the Democrats and the Amos and Andy show in Washington. It's just people's minds are just brainwashed. They need to wake up. See the truth that Trump's trying to do.
Well, I mean, what's got to, first of all, Trump's trying to do something that ain't been done in a while. And that in itself, But that in itself, after the last 20 years or 20-something years, trying to, he mentioned about the swamp. Man, nobody wants to do that. They got people making mega bucks over everything just like it is, just like they do in Baton Rouge. Just like they do in Baton Rouge. But I got to ask you a question. The outrage that the Democrats are showing, I think, hurts the party. I think it's going to hurt the party even more than Obama hurt it. I really do. And I think you see the outrage of the people. Who wants to vote? People that vote Democrat, look who you're voting with. Some of the most craziest, nutted up people I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you going to vote for that? I don't understand that.
You might as well run Charles Manson or some of them idiots for office. They probably vote for them.
If you put a Democrat by their name, they'll have no problem with that at all. Let me move on. Thanks for the call, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Matter of fact, Brian, here's a number. U.S. has gained 5,000 manufacturing jobs in January, lost 10,000 government jobs. That's because Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's where I'm getting that from. 5,000 manufacturing jobs. In December, jobs in government of the United States outnumbered jobs in the manufacturing. So we've been knowing that and that's what maybe Trump can get us in the right direction. He still has some problem with some of the Republicans, Brandon. You know, they did a vote, and the lady that's the education, head of education that he wants, passed with 52 to 48. Okay, and that was a vote really to stop the debate or whatever on it. Now the real vote's going to come. Yeah. And Collins of Maine and
Murkowski
of Alaska, they think they're going to vote with the 48 Democrats. It was 100% party vote. Mm-hmm. They think they're going to vote with the Democrats. You're going to have a 50-50 vote. And then Mike Pence will be the deciding vote, and then DeVos. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, DeVos. Yeah.
DeVos will end up getting the position, but the two Republicans will vote with the two Democrats, and that's just the way it is.
Well, and the way that Mark Levin put it yesterday on his show, he said that the two Republicans, they're going against DeVos because the two Republicans are backed by the teachers' unions, which the teachers' unions are very much against DeVos.
But that makes me believe that she'd probably be pretty good if the teachers' unions are against her. Now, I didn't say she'd be perfect, but I think she'd be pretty good at that. If they're usually against you, you got to have something good in you because they're going to be leftists. That's just who they are. Not labor force drops from record. So now you got people feel like they can go back into labor force and start looking for jobs, and it's amazing. But these people hate the thought of Ginsburg having health problems and Trump being able to put not only one but two Supreme Court justices, possibly three. So, I'm just telling y'all, there's not going to be a dull day in politics. Somebody asked me yesterday, and I want to thank the Kiwanis Club that meet at Don's Seafood. I went and spoke there yesterday. What a good group. What a great group. I mean, just professional business people, retired people, mixture of men and women. It was a neat group. I wish I could name every one of them. It was really, really a neat group I spoke to yesterday. I just want to say shout out to them. It was a lot of fun. All right, let's move on. Jeff in Shreveport. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing it fine, Chef.
Well, good to hear from you.
Yes, sir. I wanted to know why Trump waited till he got in office before he started calling foul on the illegals voting in this country.
Well, first of all, what could he have done before? He wasn't the president of the United States. He wasn't the president of the United States. Number two is he did call for watching all this stuff going on. He did talk about this while he was running. But my question is, since he was not in government, what could he have done, and he was not in government, to even do anything about this? Now he's in a position to look at it. And by the way, why are you worried about that? It didn't happen. There's nobody illegally voting. It didn't happen. Why, you ought to be, Jeff, pumped up that Trump's getting ready to make an ass out of himself. You ought to be excited about it, man. People on the left ought to be good. We're trying to prove y'all that this guy's a no-account, mammy-eating mother, father, sister, brother. You ought to be pumped up that he's getting ready to make a fool out of himself, unless he's not making a fool out of himself.
I'm hoping that one day he will be able to prove that everything he says he wanted to do will become true. I don't know about this wall that he's going to build over in Mexico because, I just don't see how Mexico's going to be able to pay for this.
Well, Now, I got to tell you, I don't know that either. I'm going to be real blunt with you. I ain't figured it out. But let me tell you something. Mexico, from the United States of America, gets billions and billions of dollars. I don't know if it's not hundreds of billions. And you're talking about a wall that's going to cost $38 billion. So let's just say they're getting billions of dollars or hundreds of billions of dollars from the United States of America. You could cut back on some stuff that you're doing and take that money and basically claim they did that. I don't know how they're going to do it. I know this. I think it will get done, and the people are demanding that it gets done. People want this to happen. All we want to do is protect the country. By the way, the walls that he's going to build will have doors for people who want to legally come to this country. The door is still open for them. We're not looking at people that want to legally come here. We're looking at illegals who are getting in here and getting on the system and getting the benefits and maybe over here for the wrong reasons. Those are the ones we want to keep out. Nobody has a problem with legal immigration. I don't.
I know a good way to be able to pay for this wall is stop giving Pakistan and all these other countries billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And they don't do nothing for us.
Let me ask you a question. Big headlines today. Barack Obama gave the UN, the last year was, I don't know if it was over last year, $9.2 billion. I got the story right here. 9.2. Why do we give anything to the United Nations? Why would you drop $9.2 billion? Why would you send $400 million in cash to Iran? Why would you send $1.7 billion to Iran? Why not do what you just said? That's a good way to take money and put it back in our country. All right, got to run. Thanks.
Moon,
appreciate the call. Yes, sir.
Moon, you know one thing that
I've
thought about?
Obama's last money shower for the UN, $9.2 billion to the UN, an organization we ought to not even be associated with. Go ahead.
Okay, but this is one thing I've thought about, and it hasn't been brought up in the conversation for illegal immigration. Those that are for illegal immigration, I haven't heard it from either side talk about the way that stopping illegal immigration could also help halt a lot of the human trafficking and maybe sex trafficking that's coming into the U.S. as well. I mean, there's
Brandon, it could stop a lot.
Well documented about human trafficking going on from Mexico to the U.S.
But it could stop a lot of that.
I know.
I mean, there's so much good to come out of us having protected borders.
There's a lot of victims in that
Absolutely.
That are people just being misused and abused. That this could help to eliminate a lot of that.
There's no doubt, and you can see who belongs here, who doesn't. And all of a sudden, you stop a lot of things. You stop drugs from coming across. There's a lot of things that's good about. By the way, there was an article today. The Border Patrol people are their morale for the first time is way up. They think they're going to have a president who's going to stand behind them because they had a president who told them to stand down. Big difference from standing a president to stand behind you and support you than a president who said, stand down, let them go.
I wonder how that goes for police. As we see the riots and the police in California at Berkeley.
They arrested one person.
Yeah, they arrested one person, but is it because they don't feel, they've been so conditioned for all these years not to take action? What is it?
Or do you have leftists running the police department and standing down? Remember?
That could be true.
Police want to be pumped up too,
yes.
and we got a president that I think will do that. Let's take a break. You're listening to the Moon. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Yeah, if you see Mitch Landrieu, tell him quit getting frustrated. There'll be another government position. He's got to be patient, and he's giving a lot of government contracts and stuff to Buddy, so he'll be able to find something. Don't worry about it. I don't know if he can win anything running for anything, but by the way, headlines again: Fox 8 dude out of New Orleans, dozen shot in first month of 2017. Matter of fact, the first paragraph said, under Mitch Landrieu, it didn't say that, I added that. The first month of the new year, Mitch Landrieu, by the way, is the mayor, 74 people were killed or wounded by gunfire. It's an average of 2 victims every day. Old Mitch, frustrated, mad, don't know what he's going to do next, and all he ever did was run for office. So what do you do when all you do is run for office? Let's go to Jack in Bossier City. Jack, how you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hard work and dedication.
Hey, I know, buddy. You're the best. I just want to let you know, 58 years ago today, we lost Buddy Holly and Richie Valens in the Big Bopper.
Wow.
Sad day. But anyway, get to my point. Our southern border, it's going to take a little while to build this fence, this wall. And my question is, maybe it's common sense, maybe it's not. if we ever put boots on the ground again, or when we do, it's probably going to be in the Middle East. And there's probably no area in the United States that you could train better than our southern border. You know, most of this stuff happens at night, and our military's biggest advantage is their ability to see at night. Why wouldn't we use military maneuvers down there until we can get this wall built? It'd be excellent training. And, you know, and then it's not going up against a wall, it's going up against a man. And that's a whole different outcome.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. It'd be interesting. Be interesting to see what they really do when it comes to doing this.
I mean, but just for the training purposes, there's nothing you can replicate more than insurgents trying to come across your border, just like it would be over the insurgents in the Middle East trying to get inside your perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it would be just an awesome way to go.
Yeah, that's. I think that's pretty interesting what you're talking about. And why not? Why? Look, man, Trump. I think Trump. Is my opinion.
Well, you call him, tell him that.
No, I don't think he's going to take mine. But I do think Trump's going to do some things out of the box, and that's what bothers people.
That's what makes me happy.
I know. It does. I think that's why he won.
Yeah. Hey, you know, this is just a big hissy fit that the Democrats are throwing, and it's like a kid when they throw a hissy fit. Once you quit paying attention to them, it's going to end. You know, and I woke up every morning after the election, and it's like you stay on some of these liberal websites, and they say, "Oh, this is what's going to get Donald Trump impeached."
Yeah.
And you know, like you said a while ago, crying wolf. Well, I don't even look at them anymore because I realize it's just stupid.
Well, I know, but I think the people that know they're stupid. Okay, we got all us, and then there's a group of people, and that's the ones I'm focusing on, that really sit back and probably voted for Trump, maybe always vote Democrat or vote Democrat a bunch, and they look at it and go, man, these people are insane. Look at the craziness they're doing. And because when you vote with Democrats, you vote for craziness, like Obamacare shoved down our throat, like a border, open borders. Those things that's really dumb. That's really unconstitutional. It's un-American to open the borders up and let anybody in. It's never been like that. But if you listen to them, they'll make you think it's always been like that.
Oh yeah, like the Statue of Liberty crying. The Statue of Liberty had nothing to do with immigrants. They wrote that poem at the bottom to pay for the shelf that it sits on as a fundraiser years later. You know, give us our humble masses and all that. The Statue of Liberty was a celebration for our independence given to us by the French.
Yeah.
In 1886 or something. It's 110 years later. It's supposed to be for the 100-year anniversary, but it was 10 years late. But you know, it's got, you know, they just make stuff up. But you know, the Clinton News Network, or the Comedy News Network, as I call it, it's fun to watch because their heads are just exploding.
Yeah. Oh, it's no doubt about it.
One last thing. Kale has got to taste better than Ruth Ginsburg's foot that she keeps putting in her mouth.
Yeah, but her foot ain't making her healthy. I'm telling you though, yeah. I just believe, and I got this from my producer. And he only asked the question: do they really care about her health, or they care about having a liberal? I answered it: they don't care about her health. They never will care about her health. If you could put a liberal there, a liberal's liberal like her, they wouldn't care what happened to her. They just wouldn't care. Anyway, got to run. Appreciate the call. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Let's go to James in Tatum, Louisiana. James, how you doing?
Hey, Moon. This is Jay. I'm in Tatum, Texas.
Oh, okay.
I listen to you on Keel out of Shreveport.
Absolutely.
And I've called in before. You've heard from me before. Moon, I want to know. I want to know if you'll highlight something on your show, since we've been talking about the southern border.
Yep.
If we could talk about the southern border and all the drug runners and the gun runners and everything coming across from Guatemala into Mexico and from Belize into Mexico, and the problem that the Mexicans are having with their southern border, and all the times that they have had border checkpoints and they've got a fence that they're trying to build, and they're trying to keep people out of Mexico.
I know.
Hey,
I know.
Nieto is Nieto the president of Mexico? He's double talking. It's all a bunch of political stuff, and really, your last caller talking about doing some military maneuvers on the border. Great. Hey, let's offer to help Mexico and help protect their southern border also. Let's stop it at the source. Let's keep the cocaine from coming up out of Central America, crossing Mexico.
They listen to me. For them to cross Mexico, that tells you a lot about the country, and that tells you a lot about the president, and that tells you a lot about who they are. They just letting them all the way go through that. There's money being shifted left and right, no doubt.
That's right. All you have to do is grease the palm. Did you see that Chapa, whoever Chapa is, the Mexican drug cartel guy? They're thinking about seizing his $14 billion with a B billion dollars worth of assets. They're thinking about freezing those assets. I say seize them, and hey, let's apply it to some of the border patrol stuff.
They're thinking about it. They never do it if they're thinking about it. Anyway, let me run. Appreciate it, James. God bless. Appreciate it. T. Tommy in Lafayette. Tommy, how you doing?
Good, Moon. How you doing today?
Doing fine, sir.
Listen, man. This is the numbers that I've heard recently about possibilities of the way they can fund this wall. In 2016, $24 billion were sent from Mexicans working here in the United States, sending their money back to Mexico. $24 billion. Mexico ships about $54 billion worth of product across the border into the United States every year.
That's a big number. That's all big numbers.
It comes out to about $80 billion a year that comes and goes from Mexico. Mexico does not want to. They do not want to lose us as a business partner.
By the way, we got about $5 billion in government subsidies and government money we give to people that are over here illegally that send it back home as well. Throw that in there. That's your tax dollars and mine. That's a real number.
We're almost up to $90 billion with that.
We only need about $25 billion to do it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, I got to go, brother. You make a great point. We'll take a break. More to come. Open Forum Friday. It's all about you. And I'm telling you, the government was never set up to sanction or stop churches from speaking out, especially against what's going on in this country. But it's been used against the right. What do you think Obama did with the IRS against the Tea Party? I mean, everybody should have been mad about that. Black, white, brown, left, middle, right. They all should have been upset what he did with that. Folks, that was total misuse of power. The left doesn't worry about stuff like that. They don't care about the laws. They don't care about anything, except, as you see in the streets, you see the ignorance and chaos in the streets. And I think it's just the start of it. I told a group yesterday that I spoke with it. I don't want to predict that, Brandon. I really don't. But I just can't see how they're not going to keep nothing up in the streets. Burning buildings and stuff like that. I hope that doesn't become the norm. I mean, it happened a lot under Obama, but nobody ever wrote about it, hardly. Brandon, you noticed something? Leading up to the election, for the last year or two, all we heard was white cops killing blacks. We heard all the demonstration, all the protests, all the burning of buildings, all that stuff. And I said back then that was all political to motivate people to go vote. But you notice in the last 4 or 5 months, it's kind of quiet, ain't it? That means nobody's getting shot. It's not been a white cop kill a black person or vice versa, nothing. I just think it's odd that it happened leading up to the presidential election. But all of a sudden, September, October, November, December, January, I just don't remember reading a bunch of stories about this. I'm not reading about riots or nothing. I always thought some of that stuff, as it happened, it was blown out. Michael Brown was totally blown out of proportion. I mean, that was a lie.
But you don't think if they have another shooting like that the media is not going to talk about it?
No. I didn't say that. I didn't say what was going to happen.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this
out. You remember I said that I think when it happens, it's going to be even worse. But I'm saying, look back the last 3 to 5 months and tell me when once happened that people went crazy, and not at all. And I thought it was always a rallying cry leading up to elections. I just find it odd that we went through that year or two of all that happening, and then all of a sudden it's Everything's clean. I mean, I'm reading all the shootings in New Orleans. I mean, there's been policemen having to shoot somebody every day. I'm not reading into it, with the exception of what I said earlier, as the weeks and months led up to the election. But right now, it seems to be all quiet on that form. Tell me a story that I missed. Tell me a story that I missed. Oh, I think when something happens, it's going to be worse. And Trump would be blamed for it. Obama never got blamed for it. Trump would be direct. You didn't see the other day they had some kind of, I don't know if it's a prison riot or a prison takeover. And they interviewed some of the people, and they said they were doing that because of Trump. In the prison. So it's going to kind of be like the Bush thing. Bush was blamed for everything. Trump's going to be blamed for even more than that. I'm just finding it odd. It's not a whole lot happened up in the last 4 or 5 months. So
I don't know. They had a riot the other night in Berkeley.
My point being is, why? For no reason. They had a conservative speaker come and speak, and they nutted up. And what happened to free speech? What happened to free speech? Marty, Miss Marty in Lafayette. How you doing, Miss Marty?
I'm doing fine, Moon.
Good to hear from you.
I have a suggestion about the wall. It would still be the American people paying for it, but you know how they sell bricks for fundraisers, for different things, like you all did that? Why not have us doing like buying a cinder block or two?
You know what?
A lot of people would.
Marty, that's brilliant.
Would love to do that.
Marty, that's brilliant. I'd buy a couple. Just think about that.
Me too.
You can charge $50 or $20 or whatever.
Okay, let's get it together. Let's do it. Me and you.
No, I'm just saying you could do that, and then you wouldn't have a problem.
Right, and a bunch of people would do it. I mean, you know, we could build that wall. So anyway, that's just a suggestion.
No, it's not a bad idea. It's the way the government doesn't have to pay for it. Let's see how many true blood Americans would be willing to put up. I believe we could do a few $1 billion like that pretty quick.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, that would be a great. Somebody needs to get that to Donald Trump.
That's right.
I bet you there would be people like me and you can afford a couple bricks, but there may be some people that can afford many bricks.
I'd eat ramen noodles for a week or two or whatever I had to, and I don't like them. And they're nasty.
I think that is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I really think that is a great idea. And by the way, that goes to the private sector. We're not asking the government for any money, at least up front. There's 320 million people here about. It just say 100 million people would do it. You know, and you could really, really do really well with the money.
Yep. That's my brilliant thought for probably the year or so.
Well,
every once in a while the light goes off.
Well, I got to tell you, I like it. I think it's a great idea, and I think we ought to look into doing it. I just think you got to get it to the right person to be able to do that. But why not do that? Why not? Let's see. Maybe we can get a third of the wall built by us taxpayers. And by the time they build that third, hell, I might buy a couple more bricks.
That's right.
And by the way, I want my name on it in big letters.
That's right. You know, and by the time part of it gets done, then I'll save some more money and I'll buy some more.
Absolutely. Great idea, and we can save some money. Thank you, baby. All right, we got to move on. We'll go to Natchitoches next. And, of course, your phone call's open for on Friday. We'll take a break. Be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Border Patrol, Trump lifts morale. That was at an all-time low. The border has been a problem. Our people fighting down on the border has been complaining for a long time that they're not doing anything to help them. They don't have the resources. They catch people and they automatically told to let them go. They get shot at and they can't shoot back. So now all of a sudden morale's better and higher because of Donald Trump. I'm just, it's a situation that we got to fix down there, folks. And Trump's going to have to be the guy to do it because the last president, the left, is not going to do it. They don't even understand these people protesting. All righty. By the way, Chief of Staff Ben Nevers to retire. He is gone. The leftist Ben Nevers is not with the one-term governor, Bill Edwards. He is now gone. Mark Cooper currently works for Senior Director of Global Emergency Management at Walmart in Bienville, whatever the heck that is now the new Chief of Staff. He's also a Republican. He's also was with Bobby Jindal administration. Now, I don't understand something. You go get somebody that was with Jindal, and that's all the press and Edwards and them talk about is how bad Jindal is. And these Republicans that continue to jump on the bandwagon with the one-term governor, Bill Edwards, I don't understand them. What do you think you're doing? The guy's trying to ram taxes down our throat every second, every step of the way. Yet these Republicans continue to jump in and do this. I'm just amazed. You got a one-term governor who's trying to tax our way to prosperity. And yet Republicans are jumping in, but hold up. Hold. Jim Beam wrote a piece blaming Bobby Jindal for everything. Failure's coming home to roost, talking bad about Republicans, Mr. Beam did. Slamming Jindal, slamming Republicans. And yet, you got Republicans that have been helping Bill Edwards for a long time now. Scott Angel helped him. Y'all remember him? He helped him. Jay Dorden. Beam loves Jay Dorden. He loves the little leftist. Beam deserves to be in the political Hall of Shame because he is definitely one of them. He wrote a piece, Coming Home to Roost, and of course it's blasting all the Republicans. And by the way, I'm not saying he's not right on some of it, but it's just one piece slamming and trying to stand up for Bill Edwards because Jay Dorn's in the deal. Republican leaders in Louisiana House continue to harp about the need to cut growing state budgets, have conveniently forgotten that many of them are responsible for the current fiscal dilemma. You notice he never talks about John Alario. He never challenges John Alario. John Alario is a Republican. Jim Beam never challenges John Alario because John Alario is doing everything that Edwards wants done. He also goes on to say Governor Edwards inherited the mess Jindal and the GOP left him. You know how many Democrats voted for the budget? You realize you had as many Democrats or more Democrats vote for the budget than Republicans? And Jim Beam forgets this. Go look at the budget votes. They had massive Democrats voting for Jindal's budget every year. It was Republicans. I remember, I wish he was listening today. I'd get Brett Guyman in here. He could tell you. Because Guyman and the fiscal hawks were voting against the budget. The real conservatives were voting against the budget. And Beam continues to pound on Jindal and the GOP like they did it all. But you know what else he forgets to tell us? That Bill Edwards voted for 4 of the first 7 budgets. He voted for him, Mr. Beam. You kind of forget to tell the people, the 17 people that read this. You know, it's amazing to watch. Then he starts quoting people like Lanny Keller, the leftist. Lanny Keller, in a column in The Advocate, talked about the state continuing to slog through unending financial crisis inspired by bad judgment of former Governor Jindal and many members of the legislature. But he just points at the Republican. Now, one time in here, he says the evidence of financial recklessness of both Republicans and some Democrat legislators in the House over Jindal's 8 years. If you really go check it out, you had a lot of Democrats voting with Bobby Jindal. Bill Edwards was one of them. He voted for 4 to 7 budgets, Mr. Beam. But you don't see that because you don't want to see it. You're as bad as CNN. You're as bad as fake news. You know, it's amazing to continue to watch this. He finishes up. Those legislators who contribute to the current fiscal straits in which the state funds itself will have this opportunity to step up to the plate, make the hard choices many of them refused to make when Jindal was governor. So Jim Beam is begging people to vote for new taxes. Incredible thing to watch, Mr. Beam, but you've lost it. You really need to retire. You really need to retire, sir. What you're writing about, you don't even put half the stuff in there. You don't ever challenge Bill Edwards on tax and spend liberals. You don't ever challenge the legislature on spending in general. I just think that's kind of amazing. An amazing thing to watch. Totally amazing. But yet that's what he continues to do. I just shake my head at it. You know, the governor's in trouble. The governor helped get us there. The governor doesn't want to talk about spending. He wants to continue to use one-time money. It's a phenomenal thing to watch. When we get back, Bob Mann, little Bob Mann, talking about things he has no clue about. We'll get to that. And, of course, your calls are welcome, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Ah, man. All right, Brandon, I'm going to send you this. Never mind, you probably got it. All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Thank you for listening to the Moon Griffon Show, folks. We appreciate it. Don't forget our good friends at Walk On, Fisher Sports Bar, the Moon Griffon Show. They're starting to franchise. They'll be all over the state in every big market in the state pretty soon. So you'll be able to go enjoy the fine taste of Walk-Ons all over, and great atmosphere for kids and families. I know it's a bar, but part of it's not the bar. I'm talking about the fun side with the kids and the parents, and the people can really have a good time. And like Drew Brees said, who's one of the owners now, I wanted to go to a place that I could bring my kids and have fun. And that's Walk-Ons. All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline open Forum Friday. Let's go to Curtis in Shreveport. Curtis, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was...
Curtis, are you there, man? You sound like you're talking to somebody in the background.
Yeah, no.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
I was calling about the state and federal taxes.
Hey, I know what it is. You got to turn your radio down. I mean, it's bland, guy. I'll have to let you go if you don't.
Okay.
Okay, man, you still messed up. Let me move on, Curtis. Thanks. We appreciate it. Scott in Leesville. How you doing, Scott?
Good morning, Moon. I listen to you all the time. I'm in and out of the vehicle, though. I don't know if anybody's touched on this. I know I heard a woman talk about a wall and, buying cinder blocks. Not a bad idea. But, something we're going to have to keep in mind, we're going to need to keep some money back, because if California decides to become a sanctuary state, we withhold federal funds, and then they go ahead and secede from the Union. The next wall is going to be north and south. And I just leave that for Friday.
I don't think California's going anywhere. They're all about federal funding. California's about federal funding like everybody else.
Yeah, they'd be cutting their throat because they're bankrupt as it is. But I just, just kind of throw that out there with a little humor.
Well, I understand that, and it is funny. It's just they're not going anywhere. That's talking head and talking things they don't even have a clue about. Nobody's succeeding from the Union. I'm not saying they don't have any rights, and there's been a lot of jokes about them leaving that would help the country out. but it is what it is. What they're going to do, secede from the Union, allow open borders, and then becomes part of Mexico? Is that what they're trying to do?
Right.
We ought to do? We ought to do an experiment. Let California secede from the Union. They cut off. It's all on them. This is their country. Watch the destruction of what happens with a leftist, socialist-type country, how quick it can go down, how freedoms are lost, how they let people pour in through the borders. Now, we can, like you said, put the fence up around ours there, too, and California is the new country of California. Let's see how they do with all the liberals running. That country would be destroyed in 5 years. 10 at the most, but probably 5 years. They would be totally wiped out. And it'd be wiped out from the policies that they live under.
It would become a wasteland, much like, a lot of the southern, as you go south out of Texas and Arizona and southward. They just can't survive on their own. And we see this, and I don't understand the liberal mindset that you have protesters and then they turn violent. And I can remember the sound clips from the guy who got caught up in the middle of the protest and saying, look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing. You're protesting. You get violent. Next thing you know, it's going to be martial law, and then you're going to lose the freedoms that you're claiming that you're all about. And they just don't think. And it's beyond me. I don't know where the logic. There is no logic. But I'm just glad that we have. I wasn't a Trump fan. I didn't vote for him.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see some common sense coming back into play.
Let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question? Do you normally, if you were a voter, do you normally kind of vote Democrat, and every now and then a Republican comes around, you vote?
No, I lean more toward Republican.
Okay. Well, the only reason I was asking that because I'm always looking for the voter. I'm looking for these Democrat Party voters who are looking at how nutted up the left has become. And they can't sit back and say, wow, the group I'm voting for is crazy. I just can't vote for crazy anymore. Because when you vote for that, you're voting for crazy. That's why I was asking. I didn't know if you were one of those people. And by the way, that's okay. That's who you are. But I just was kind of curious.
I voted a Libertarian ticket this time. But, I just watched I watch what's going on. I try to pay attention. In the end, I know my vote doesn't really matter much. Yeah. Because of Electoral College. But it is what it is.
And Scott, I disagree with you. Your vote matters, and it matters for the Electoral College. It really does matter.
Yeah, well, I mean,
no, it really does. It really matters. It really matters. Your vote does matter. Don't ever think it don't, because it does. Your vote tells the Electoral College how to vote. It tells the Electoral College basically how to vote per state. So it really does matter. Don't ever think it don't matter. It does matter.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying I don't know. The reason I don't want you to say that because these people that are against it really don't know what they're talking about. This was brilliant. This was really brilliant the way it kept each state having some power in the presidential election. And that's what I like about it.
Yes, sir. The popular votes is ridiculous. I mean, you can't run it that way because, all the people are located in big metropolis areas, and they can't speak for the whole rest of the nation that's spread out through the breadbasket and all through the South. It wouldn't be a representation of, the Electoral College is excellent. It's great. Glad we have it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thanks, brother. Appreciate the call. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. By the way, Brandon, here's another thing to help pay for the wall. Somebody said, how about on the federal tax forms, you got a little box, and it says, how much of your refund would you like to go to the wall? That'd be better. I just check off whatever, how much a brick would cost. I'd check off where I'd have a couple of bricks on, as long as they put my name in big letters. All right, let's go. Joe in Pineville. How you doing, Joe?
Good morning, Moon. How's the best work day of the week?
Hey, man, I know. You and Brandon. Y'all go ahead. Brandon got his check now, so he might not even work the rest of the show.
There you go. Yeah, I was pursuing some, let's say, left-wing website the other day, and one of the comments was that, oh, my goodness, it's going to cost $120, $140 a household to build a wall. So I had to comment on him, tell him that it's a heterosexual white male Christian entrepreneur, small business owner, patriot. I would be glad to send my $120. All I needed was an
address. Oh man, I tell you what, this is a great country we live in. I thank God I live here, don't you?
Yes, it is.
I do. I mean, look, hey, even the crazies. Sometimes you got to have crazies so you can realize that, hey, maybe I'm a normal person.
I saw a bunch of heads explode on that post, let me tell you.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. They nutting up every day. They burning buildings down. Wait till the Supreme Court justice, a guy that a lot of these Democrats, including Chucky Schumer, voted for in appellate court, says, I ain't qualified. I ain't voting for him. Why? Because President Trump is the president. That's why they're not voting for him. I got news for you. This is what I would do. I think he's going to get over 60 votes to win the first time. Okay? Number two, at the next one when it comes up, if Ginsburg, depending on her health, goes, if they don't want to vote for the next one, then I'll do the nuclear option. I just motor over them sorry pieces of trash because that's all they are. They are.
I tweeted Trump the other day that I was not tired of winning yet.
No, don't get tired of winning. We got a lot more winning to do. A lot more winning to do.
Amen.
All right, brother. Thank you. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Always a pleasure. Always an honor to be with you, folks. I promise you. Really, really enjoy having a lot of fun every day visiting and talking about the issues of the day on the Moon Griffon Show. Whether you disagree or agree with the good-looking talk shows. All right. I've been here bragging for about the last month or so about Acadian Total Security. I had to buy an alarm system, and of course residential. But they're good for businesses, fleet management. They can do it all when it comes to Acadian Total Security. But I had a residential system that I needed, and it's amazing. They'll come out there and show you everything that you possibly could do from a technology standpoint, and you're not going to believe what alarm systems can do today. You're not going to believe the access you have to them. You're not going to believe what you can work off your telephone and not even be in the state that you live in or the city or in your house. It is that sophisticated, but it's not complicated, because in Acadian Total Security, they're going to explain it to you. They're going to help you. They're going to walk you through the process. If you have a problem, you can pick up the phone and call them. Indoor cameras, door and window contacts, yard signs, remote app, outdoor cameras, motion sensors. They got it all at Acadian Total Security. And you're familiar with them. You've heard of Acadian Ambulance Service, haven't you? Acadian Ambulance Service. Well, this is who these people are. They've been protecting and helping people for a long, long time. Acadian Total Security. You don't need another security system once you talk to Acadian Total Security. I did. I'm so glad I hooked up with Acadian Total Security. I feel it. I feel it right now while I'm on the air, Brandon. You know why? I can look at what's going on around my house. Also, I'm attached and ready to roll if somebody breaks in. Can't beat that. Plus, I got Rover in there to bite you as a second offense.
I haven't met Rover before. Rover?
Well, I just threw that name. That's really, I don't. It seems you're making me run it. Her real name is Lovey.
Sick 'em, Lovey.
Get him, Rover. Get him, Rover. All right. Anyway.
Lovey won't know how to respond if you...
She might look at you like she does me sometimes, but kind of turn her head like that. Anyway, let's go to Michael, West Monroe. Mike, how you doing? Oh, man, I wonder if that was the nut. Oh, I hope it was. God, I hope that was him and he calls back. All right, let's go to Rick.
The nut.
Oh, if he calls, trust me, you'll know he's a nut after about 7 words. Rick in Lafayette. How you doing, Rick?
You worth hanging on for, Moon, I tell you.
I hope you ain't had to wait more than an hour or two.
Hey, look, Moon, you told a caller earlier that your vote absolutely counts, and I certainly believe that. But my problem is I've always felt like I wish I could do more than my vote, and I just want to give you a real quick story of what happened recently that makes me feel good about myself. Like, you know, I've been hearing a lot about these different states and city mayors and state governors talking about they're not in the business of enforcing federal immigration laws. Now, I'm a retired police officer, and then what I'm fixing to tell you is factual. Actually, any city, municipality has more law. They can enforce all the laws in the book. City, parish, county, state, and federal. In fact, they're required to.
Okay.
The parish/counties are required to enforce their laws and state and federal. So they have less far-reaching, but they have a bigger area. And it keeps going up in that direction. So when it comes to a city, hello?
Go ahead. I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard Brandon in the background. So the city can enforce all these laws. So what these politicians are saying that they're not in the business enforcing federal immigration laws is absolutely untrue. In fact, they're bound to enforce these laws, no matter what size the city is. And whether you're a county, a state, all of them are bound by the federal law.
Rick, let me ask you a question. How come some of these people publicly are saying they're not going to do it?
First of all, I don't. There may be a few exceptions, but most of the ones I've heard are politicians and not the actual chiefs of police or sheriff's departments. Now, there may be a few exceptions, but predominantly that's what it is: politicians who don't know what they're talking about. Now, what we recently did, we have a group of guys who like to go on a ride every year, and our ride was bringing us through Memphis this year. So we decided we weren't going to go through Memphis because of this. It was kind of a hot topic a few days ago. So I contacted the Chamber of Commerce over there, very nicely told them our plans. The lady could not have been nicer, and listening to my story and apologizing, not for any one particular person, just apologizing in general, and encouraged me to contact the local government over there, the city hall. So I did. I could not get past the receptionist who did not, in my opinion, her attitude couldn't be getting me off the phone fast enough. So the politicians who should be looking out for their people seem like they don't care, because I'm sure I wasn't the first call they had gotten, and pretty much the reception and gets it and it doesn't go any further. The Chamber of Commerce, their interest is in the livelihood of businesses, was very interested in this. So my point being is politicians are, Trump has started appointing a lot of people who are experts in that particular field, whereas politicians think everybody needs to be a politician because they know best. But I felt real good about ourselves. Our group of guys also feel good about ourselves, knowing that more than just our vote, we were able to do something else. And we certainly feel for the people in Memphis, but that's dollars that are not going to go to Memphis because of the attitude of their mayor, in which I'm sure he's a minority among all the businesses over there who would rather our dollars come in.
Yeah, good point. Good point, man. Thanks for the call. I think you made some great points. Thank you. And you got Mitch Landrieu and them saying we're going to be a sanctuary city. We're not enforcing anything. I mean, how did they do that? I thought we were a country of laws. Are we? I think last I looked we were. Even Bill Clinton said we were a country of laws. Country of immigrants, but we are a country of laws. President Bill Clinton. By the way, he was a Democrat. Leftist. Benjamin in Shreveport. How you doing, Benjamin?
Outstanding. How you doing, Moon?
Doing fine, sir.
All right. Hey, the building of this physical wall, when our nation's infrastructure is already falling apart, I mean, it really doesn't make sense to build a physical wall like another Eisenhower interstate system that we're going to have to maintain with funds. And in order to pay for it, they're going to have to borrow more money. That means we're going to go into more debt to build this wall rather than building a physical wall across the border. I mean, maybe build the wall in areas where they can't patrol, but in the areas where they can patrol, use that to actively test non-lethal equipment that, like microwaves.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question, Benjamin. Let me ask you a question, because I understand where you're going with that. But aren't you still spending money? Aren't you still spending money that you say we don't have? I mean, you may spend more money doing that than building a physical wall. But I think you make a great point, though. I think you make a great point. We got some big time needs around this country that's not being met. As far as having enough money, there's a lot of money in the federal coffers outside of what they borrow and spending. And I think Trump has a plan. I don't know it yet. I just think there's a plan that when he says Mexico's going to build a wall, there's going to be some money coming out of that area that's going to help build that wall. But I don't have the plans. We'll see if it happens. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do yet, but he says he's going to build it. They're claiming they're going to build it. I understand the infrastructure around the country hadn't been taken care of because it hadn't been a priority. It just hadn't been a priority. Right. It's like Louisiana. Well, they want more money for a road tax to build roads. Why? Because when we got money, we didn't fix roads. We ended up doing projects all around the state and hiring more people, building more universities.
Yeah. Well, it seems like they could use that area between the U.S. and Mexico as a veritable training ground for National Guardsmen or even, some active duty soldiers to learn to resist these immigrants trying to get over and, actually use it as a training exercise. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone, no pun intended there. But, it looks like we're going to be fighting in the Middle East and Central Asia probably for the next century. So, what better training ground than the area between the U.S. and Mexico along the border? I'd certainly, now, personally, I'd love to see our military knock out the drug cartels and such. And, they're probably the ones funneling the illegals into the country in the first place. But yeah, it just seems like, it's another Keynesian economic, stimulus where they're going to have to borrow billions of dollars by selling treasuries, which in turn our kids are going to end up having to pay for. And on top of the roads and bridges, they're going to have to maintain this physical wall too, which for all intents and purposes is not going to serve. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. By the way, I'm not going to get to it, Brandon, but I will Monday. 1,000 scientists challenge global warming in new report. 1,000 scientists. Well, who's the guy that called one day, said all these scientists believe this is true? 1,000 scientists. I'll put that on the top of the list for Monday. We always like a good global warming, man-made global warming to stop hurricanes on this program. God bless. Have an awesome weekend, folks.